One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 13th of June. Before we get into that, though, I'd like you guys to hop on over to the Apple App Store and type in Pose Fitness, P-O-S-E Fitness. And the app looks like a black background with a white P in it. And that is a fitness app that will use AI and the camera on your phone to analyze your movements to let you know that you're going down far enough, if your knees are tracking inward or outward, if you're doing squats. It'll make sure your pull-ups you're going all the way up, and how you can adjust your elbows and your shoulders and your hand grips. And push-ups, if you're crushing your push-ups, it'll tell you that you are. If not, it'll tell you where to improve and show you what you're doing that is not, whether it's great for your elbows or great for your shoulders, or let you know that you're not going down far enough. The IFT is programmed into that too. So if you use the promo code One's Ready when you set up the account, you'll get 1 month free, and then you can take it wherever you want to go. Past that, 18 Alpha Fitness, 18afitness.com with the promo code #1 ready. Coach Edge is a prior ODA officer and enlisted dude, and he has been doing strength and conditioning stuff for Air Force Special Warfare for years now. And he will take you from where you're at right now, your current fitness level, and where you need your fitness level to be, and based off of how much time you have, he will tailor make a program for you to get you where you need to be. That is 18afitness.com, promo code #1 ready. Coach Edge will get you set up. All right, here is the news for today. This is joint news. Despite proposed cuts, Navy requirement for FA-XX, the fighter XX, next generation fighter, still valid, Joint Chiefs Chairman says. General Dan Cain, General Dan Cain confirmed the Navy still needs the FA-XX fighter, despite the Defense Department only requesting $74 million for it in FY26. In the FY26 budget, rather. He acknowledged evolving requirements and threats, emphasizing the urgency of developing the capability, particularly for the Indo-Pacific conflict preparedness. Yeah, the thing about that, sir, is that nobody's saying that we don't need that, right? Everybody acknowledges that the Navy does need a 6th-gen fighter or a next-generation fighter. Nobody's disagreeing with that. But when we start talking about who's going to be fighting the incursion and the strike packages and leading the strike packages, that will be the Air Force. And although the Navy does need a next generation fighter, the Air Force needs more fighters, more bombers. So in my opinion, that's why we moved it, or moved the funds. And I agree with it. Trump's Joint Chiefs chair says Putin won't stop at Ukraine. General Dan Cain warned that if Russia is successful in Ukraine, Putin likely won't stop there. During a Senate hearing, Senators Graham and McConnell raised concerns about the West enabling Russian victory through inaction. I'm giving General Cain the benefit of the doubt that he has way better intel than I do, but I don't necessarily know that Putin's going to stop there. I think he was just trying to build in some buffer between NATO countries and his country. But, I mean, again, I could be very wrong on that. All right, next. Hegseth won't rule out military actions against Greenland and Panama. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth stated the U.S. won't rule out any military action in Greenland or Panama, citing interest in countering Chinese influence. Denmark criticized the potential U.S. moves, reaffirming Greenland's autonomy. Okay, so let's hit the Panama real quick. The Panama Canal is critical to industrial and commercial transport and all that kind of stuff. So, it's critical. We should have never given it back, but we did. I think Jimmy Carter did that. So thanks for that. But we should have never given it back. It is critical to making sure commercial transport is successful. And if not, economies will collapse. Remember, I don't think it was the Panama, maybe it was the Suez. One of the canals got blocked a couple of years ago for like a week, and it created an entire shitstorm of stuff going on, or it happened back then. So it's not great, and we need to make sure that we keep it flowing. And if Chinese influence starts restricting that and starts saying, hey, X country can't come in, but X country can come in, and they start manipulating it, it's not good for anybody. Now, when it comes to Greenland, man, I got it, Denmark. But if Greenland votes to do it, then there you go. I don't think that the U.S. is going to take military action and to do that. I think that's ridiculous. But if Greenland wants it, sucks to be you, Denmark. All right, next. Breaking down the U.S. military's departure plan for families in Bahrain, the DoD activated plans to allow U.S. military families in Bahrain to evacuate for up to 6 months. Families may fly at government expense with weight limits for unaccompanied baggage and guidance for disenrollment in DoD EA schools. All right, cool. AFRICOM says AFRICOM General says command faces growing threat of terrorism and should not combine with EUCOM. General Michael Langley argued against merging AFRICOM with EUCOM, emphasizing Africa's increasing strategic importance and unique threat profile. He warned that terrorist groups are exploiting general instability and expanding influence. When AFRICOM first stood up, before AFRICOM stood up, EUCOM was handling all of Africa anyway. Now, fully acknowledge Africa has got a whole bunch of countries in it, and it's a massive, massive piece of land. But I don't necessarily agree that we need 2 commands. I think that is general officers and officers in general looking at forecasting for future mission or future opportunities and command positions for themselves. I don't necessarily think that we need an AFRICOM, though. I think EUCOM, you plus up EUCOM, you take all of those worker bees and all those officers and you put them over in EUCOM to bolster their capability, and they can take Africa. And then we can cut down on some of these general officers. Just get in the way. All right, next, how drone warfare fares in the 2026 budget. Drone warfare development depends on the success of the Trump administration's budget reconciliation bill. If passed, the Air Force and Space Force would receive $63 billion and $29 billion, respectively, for RDT&E funding. Otherwise, they'd face sharp cuts. RDT&E is research, development, test, and evaluation. Air Force news, the Sentinel ICBM first flight date now in flux, Air Force says. The Air Force delayed full systems testing of the Sentinel ICBM to March 2028 due to restructuring and a new development strategy. Cost overruns and incremental design changes have complicated designs and triggered a congressional scrutiny. That's that Nunn-McCurdy Act that we talked about yesterday. Check it out. There's details online. It's real simple. You type in NUNN-McCurdy, and it comes right up and it'll give you explanation on what that is in detail. Better than my dumbass can give you. Next, Air Force moves ahead with military's first microreactor. Hell yes, I was super excited about this yesterday. I will continue to be excited about it today. The Air Force selected Oklahoma to build a 5-megawatt nuclear microreactor at Eielson Air Force Base, Alaska. I'm saying Oklahoma. It's Oklo. There. OKLO. The project must complete environmental reviews and licensing within a targeted operation date of 2030. Super stoked about this, if you guys can't tell. Next, the Air Force reveals first image of LRSO nuclear cruise missile. A concept image of the AGM-181 LRSO was released, showing a stealthy design with a blunt nose. The missile can carry a 150 kiloton payload, 10 times the yield of the Hiroshima bomb. 10 times? Woo! Man, okay. Space Force news, we got to run through this because I got a meeting I got to go to. House Appropriations, or House Appropriators Advanced Defense Bill slam White House for budget delay. The White House Appropriations Committee advanced a FY26 bill allocating $29 billion for the Space Force, more than the Trump administration requested. The lawmakers criticized the administration for delaying required justification documents, particularly around space procurement reforms. Next, Peterson Space Force Base back open after a brief lockdown on Thursday. Peterson Space Force Base was locked down due to a reported threat from an individual on base. The situation was resolved within an hour, and the base operations resumed after deputies responded to assist with security. That's in Colorado Springs, if you guys weren't tracking. Of interest, Israel strikes Iran nuclear facilities, missile factories. Israel launched... sorry, it's tough to read this with this font size. Israel launched airstrikes on Iranian missiles and nuclear sites, killing key military leaders. The strikes were presented as a decisive action to prevent Iran from developing nuclear weapons. Next, NATO tech trials for intercepting Russia's cable drones. Ukraine and NATO are testing fiber-optic based countermeasures against Russian drones, emphasizing low-cost passive active systems. Trials aim to enhance detection and interception through robust signal intelligence and jamming. Next, lawmakers urge Pentagon to establish dual-use factories aimed at scaling weapons development. Congress recommended dual-use manufacturing networks to increase defense production speed and scale. The report warns of U.S. vulnerability in contrast to China's rapid fielding capability and stresses advanced manufacturing as a national priority. I agree. Opinion. Ukraine's effects-based precision-guided munition strikes implications. Ukraine's Operation Spiderweb showcases an innovative asymmetric approach to modern warfare. Lieutenant General Deptula, hey, we've had him on. He's great. Highlights its success in using decentralized cross-domain strikes to counter Russia's attritional tactics. Attritional tactics being they just have a ton of people and a ton of equipment, and no matter they keep getting destroyed, they keep coming, they keep coming, they keep coming. They do it by large numbers and just attrition tactics. All right, last one. Opinion. Musk-Trump feud is a wake-up call on space. I got a feeling I know where this is going. The clash between Elon Musk and Donald Trump underscores the risk of private sector dominance in space security. Experts argue for a resilient government-led space architecture to ensure continuity to avoid politicized disruptions. Okay, that's not actually where I thought that was going. So I just disagree with this opinion. I think we need private sector more now than ever, because you look at NASA, they've done amazing things in the past and they continue to do amazing things now, but we're going to lose without space and SpaceX in the private sector. So anyway, that's been it from here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we appreciate you being here. Have a great weekend.